It's probably the real intimidating thing about driving cars. Right, hello, and welcome back to Bicester Heritage, as you can clearly probably hear. And welcome to the first part of our two-part series, because we've been lent this for a couple of days. It's a 1929?
28.
Oh, 28.
1928.
Austin 7.
Yeah, so today basically, first part is going to be us as 22-year-olds and 23-year-olds, young people, taking you through how to actually get it up and running, the checks you have to do, and how to actually drive it. Because weirdly, it's not as complex as you think.
It's not that intimidating, as you'll see. So yes, welcome to part one, how to drive an Austin 7.
Let us begin. So, I'm going to show you how the Heritage Skills Academy showed me to prep this car before you want to drive it. So, we have checked the fuel, so we don't need to, but if you were wanting to check the fuel, you would open the oven and you would find that's where your fuel goes, and you don't have an actual gauge in the car. You have this, which is a ruler of some description, and that will basically tell you how much you've got in gallons, that looks like. It's got about 12-litre tanks, so, you know, it doesn't actually tell you that, and you would think that's actually, I know they weren't ahead of their time, but that's quite a frustrating way to check your fuel, but that's how you do it anyway. And you come to the other side, in which you have the fuel cut-off. So, basic premise is, if it's not, this metal piece is not flowing with the way that the copper tubing is, your fuel is shut off. So before you start, you need to make sure that is down. Now it's down. If you leave the car for more than 5-10 minutes, that has to come back up for reasons. They just told me not to. In here, we have your battery cutoff, in which is under your seat. They've very kindly cushioned it, because apparently if you don't have those, the battery moves about and is a pain in the arse. You tighten this up, righty-tighty, and once that's tight, your battery is now working, which means you are ready to go once you've placed those back down. Follow me round to the other side of the car, in which we begin. So, it's actually easier to get in than the Jaguar we sat in at the Scrambles. You can get your leg under fairly simply. So, quick run around. Gearbox, handbrake. This is your gas, which acts a bit like a choke. Essentially, the higher you have that, the higher the revs will sit for you when you start it. So it's always a good idea to have that sort of in the halfway position. That is a choke for people who want to get. A choke is essentially, on the Mini it's like a pull-out thing. On this, it's a piece of wire that you either pull and it works, or you let go and it stops. And that's as simple as it gets. And then your starter button is, anyone want to have a guess? Give them a countdown clock. You've got 10 seconds to work out where it may be. Can you see it? Whether you can see anything or not, but can you? No, you were wrong. It's down there by your foot. And
Hang on, how am I going to get in here?
Right. Have a look in there. See that little thing there? That's how you start your Austin 7. You want to give it a little bit of gas. Make sure
you want to do that. Is ignition on? Ignition on.
You move it one turn to the left. You get a red light, and that means you are good to go. Wait for it. One thing before we do go.
Ah, yes.
The gearbox isn't exactly a normal gearbox. In a normal gearbox,
do you know what?
You've got...
I'm coming to get in the passenger.
Please, please.
Coming round.
Come. A normal gearbox, we'll quickly run through that, obviously, is first, second, third, fourth, and then up to how many gears you've got. In this, reverse is top right, first is bottom right, second is top left,
yes,
and then third is bottom left. So you essentially go first, second,
first
third.
is where fourth is, second is where first is, third is where second is, and reverse is where third is, normally in a car.
Yeah.
I know it sounds really complicated,
but if you drive it for 5 minutes, it makes sense. So now we shall drive!
Yes.
Let us begin. Good to go.
Yes, so we're now in the Austin 7, and of course, once again, we both want to drive first. We are going to apply the three blind I did that again.
The three
blind mice.
You work for a company, dude. Like, get the name right.
I know. 3 blind mice, coin of choice.
Do you want to flip? I flipped last time.
Okay,
and got me done.
So what are you going for?
I choose not heads.
Okay. It's heads!
No!
It's heads. Oh, it won't be long.
No, I know.
Right.
Let's do it. Right, so should I get in the back?
Do you want to see if you can fit in the back?
I literally stood up in an Austin 7. Hang on. Right, so if I get the door first, and then...
Obviously no seat belts. Huzzah, let's begin.
So ignition on. Everything else is good. We left the fuel open.
We did. And let's begin.
Bit of gas.
And it roars into life. Handbrake off. First gear
Down.
to the right and down. The clutch is essentially a button.
It's on or off.
It's yes. And we move.
Yeah.
We begin. And let's take it for a spin around Bicester Heritage. Yes. It's actually not that intimidating. It's pretty easy to drive. It actually is quite easy to drive.
That is, we want to make sure, once you've got it into gear,
Yeah.
it's like another car.
And it sounds like it's really revving, but apparently that's okay.
But this was one of the most important cars for our country. They sold 290,000.
It's so small
And loud.
and quite loud. Here we are in a car that celebrates its 100th birthday this year.
This actual car is 92 years old. No, 28 is 22, 6 years. 94 years old.
Right, we're gonna go
Left.
yes. Obviously there's no indicator, so if you do want to go left, you have to wave your arms like a manic.
Or have a man in the back and say, this way.
You have to employ a full-time indicator. And it also feels like it's going to tip over every corner you go around.
I know, you want there to be a horn.
I really want the
People
horn.
smile at you.
Yeah.
There's a group of people smiling.
People
How
love it.
stupid we look.
Yes. Oh, but it doesn't matter how stupid we look because we feel cool.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to have a go?
Yes, I do.
Right, let's pull up.
Right, get in the back.
Oh yes, the back.
We begin.
And we're off.
You sort of just guess where the gear might be, and then
And then
just,
it's sometimes
and
when
then
it actually works, it's so rewarding.
So I don't think it has a gate. You know, in your gearbox that you can feel where first, second, third is. In this,
It doesn't have that.
take the apex. Oh! But we have been told, even if it does make a noise like that, don't freak out. Like that's
No, you see,
what it's kind of meant to do.
and that honesty is probably the real. That's probably the real intimidating thing about driving cars. Oh, that's honestly the real intimidating thing about driving cars of this age.
You feel like you're going to break
You
it.
feel like you're going to break it, but well,
we might.
you might all be screaming at us right now, but apparently we're not going to break it.
Yeah, the Austin Enthusiast Club. What are you doing?
That's the big man himself.
Is it?
Yeah,
Should we wave?
we'll let him go.
Don't get it wrong in front of the
No. Oh.
That was the boss.
So we just drove forward.
We may have just driven past the biggest cheese in this place. So the reason it jerks there is because the clutch is literally on or off. There is no sliding it out. It just happens.
We've just pulled over because we are getting a bit of sweat on. So, how do we cool ourselves down in this car? I'll show you.
Please.
Come with me. So, for our maybe even younger viewers who aren't quite familiar with this mechanism, here you go. There you go. Windows up, windows down. This is your aircon. Well, it's not aircon. It's just airflow. Quite literally, there is a lever back here, and they
Look at
literally
that.
just opened. So look, there you go. It's just a letterbox basically that opens and closes and lets air into the car.
Yeah.
If you're in the mood for a really good breeze, you unscrew these, you lift them out, and
Look at that. Can you have it all the way up?
there you go.
That's so cool.
That's not bad, is it? And then I guess you tighten these up here to hold it wherever you want it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, there you go. So, classic cars. We were just driving down here very happily, very comfortably, and it just died. Death, gone, zero, nothing to say. So, that's all quite hot.
Hold that. I'm gonna try. We'll just try something. We'll just try again.
Yeah, that's not doing anything.
It's not. It's just Right, we've got to take it.
Right, we now have to work out how we fix this, so we'll update you.
We've got to roll it back, surely, haven't we?
Now, obviously this wasn't what we planned, believe it or not, but watching the footage back made us realise how much of a community Bicester Heritage actually is. A classic car had broken down and the whole place just descended on it. Matt from the Heritage Skills Academy came to try and diagnose a problem with the car. The guys from Harry Fraser Upholstery walked over to lend a hand, and even on their way round to another job, the two guys from Classic Performance Engineering came to help us give the car a tow back to the workshop. Even though, as you'll see, it never actually made it there.
Right. Do you want us to push it, help us push?
No,
Mate,
towing it.
Turn it. Oh, go on then.
that's why they came.
3 blind mice.
Thanks for watching.
Oh. I have to go back and see that. Did you see that? I have to go back and see it. I was going to wrap up, but it's just locked its rear brakes on.
Well, that's good. We can fix that. That's easier than engine.
That's an easier than an
That's an easier than engine
Oh.
job.
Is
Even
it still
better.
filming?
Yes.
So apparently it's a gearbox problem.
You see me and Ollie trying to tow the engine crane. The engine.
Ah yes, so either the axle or the gearbox is now locked and we've still got to get it back to the workshop, and obviously the rear wheels don't turn anymore. So now now we've got to get the car back to the workshop basically with only the front wheels moving.
You know.
Welcome to
I
more
thought that's
challenges
okay.
for Through Blind. Right.
So, you join us outside of one of StarterMotor's new cars.
Yes, the 1952 Alvis. I think we said it was 38. I don't know where we got that number from.
It's an Alvis of some form.
But anyway.
Old. But to summarise what happened today on our 2-part Austin 7 review, there will be a 2-part and maybe a part 3 after today, because we actually want to find out what went wrong.
But, you know, it's a 94-year-old car. At the end of the day, it was a fantastic driving experience,
Yeah.
and it was a lot easier to drive once you got the hang of it.
Yeah.
It was not as intimidating as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I am a bit sad because
He was going to drive home.
I was going to drive it home, hence why
Alistair's having
I'm now having a beer.
a sad pint
Um,
to take it home.
But yes,
we'll
we have
be back in it.
Yeah, we will. We'll be back in it, and we've got to thank Starter Motor for lending us the Austin
Yeah.
7.
Heritage Skills Academy for showing us how to drive it,
Yeah.
B, recovering the car, and C, they're going to talk us through what actually went wrong with it. They're going to hopefully show us the ins and outs of literally the components that failed, why that failed, and sort of educate us on why that is the case.
And finally, thanks to Bicester Heritage for letting us do many laps
Do many laps.
before it went wrong.
The thing is, we were literally probably an hour away from driving out onto the public roads, and we were saying it's very helpful that happened here on a campus of Heritage Car Restoring.
Yeah, if you're gonna break down anywhere, it's got to
Do it
be
here.
500 yards from the workshop that gave it to you.
Yes, please do
I
subscribe.
never thought I'd ever say, please subscribe to my YouTube channel,
But it's very helpful.
but it does help.
So we're going to do one thing.
Thanks for watching part 1 of the Austin 7 sort of whatever,
Mishmash.
and please subscribe.
And we'll see you with the next one.
We will.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.